Joe Biden making an unannounced visit to Ukraine and meeting with President Zelensky as China gears up to test the president in a major way. It's been almost 1 year since Putin's brutal invasion. Biden committing an additional $500 million in assistance and promising that the U.S. will stand by the country.
I'm here to show our unwavering support for the nation's independence, their sovereignty, and territorial integrity. We know that there'll be very difficult days and weeks and years ahead. But Russia's aim was to wipe Ukraine off the map. Putin's war of conquest is failing. Russia's military has lost half its territory it once occupied.
The trip comes amid growing fears that China could soon be helping Putin out in the war. Secretary of State Antony Blinken offering up this warning.
China has been engaged in providing rhetorical, political, diplomatic support to Russia, but we have information that gives us concern that they are considering providing lethal support to Russia in the war against Ukraine. And it was important for me to share very clearly with Wang Yi that this would be a serious problem.
The stakes of the war are also growing after Kamala Harris accused Russia of crimes against humanity.
The United States has formally determined that Russia has committed crimes against humanity. And I say to all those who have perpetrated these crimes and to their superiors who are complicit in these crimes, you will be held to account.
I'm not even going to go to Kamala first. All right, let me go to you first, Dana.
Okay.
Let's talk about what Blinken said to his counterpart, Wang Yi. He said about the surveillance balloon that it was a violation of our sovereignty, international law, and it won't be tolerated again. But more importantly, he basically said if China supports lethal weapons to Russia, they're in for a problem. Do you think China's scared?
Scared, I don't know, but thinking about it, probably. And actually, if you go back to the beginning of when Russia invaded Ukraine, remember Russia thought that the Chinese were going to be their best friends, and the Chinese have given them the cold shoulder over the past year. They have provided things like helmets, things that were non-lethal weapons, which the West has sort of said, okay, we'll let that slide. But one step more, and there's going to be a big problem. And I admire the president for going today. I think that the deliverables are just more of the same. Mm-hmm. It's more money and more ammo and more tanks. But no, I'm sorry, no tanks and no planes. And I do feel like since the beginning that we committed to helping them once we saw that they were willing to fight for themselves. NATO rallied together. I think the president deserves some credit for that. But NATO's also scared. So they were like, we got to do something. We got to pony up. We got to pay more. We got to be a part of this. But now it feels as if we continue to provide the Ukraine with what they need slowly, mm-hmm. rather than in order to get ahead of it. And once a conflict has gone past 6 months, it's very hard to get people to then come to the table and say, let's all try to work this out, because now the hatred gets ingrained. There are a lot of casualties. On civilian casualties on the Ukraine side, and then so many Russians have also been killed on the battlefield. One of the things I listened to today was the Call Me Back podcast, and Neil Ferguson was on talking about this Cold War II concept. And we're entering a presidential election season. Will be very interesting to see how everybody handles it going forward. And I think that the Biden administration has taken the Americans' support for Ukraine a little bit for granted because they don't constantly remind you why it's in the national interest. And you are looking at a situation where the Ukraine-Russia war continues and maybe goes to points beyond. That's Russia's goal, or at least stated goal. Israel is not going to put up with Iran having a nuclear weapon. If you read today, they're closer than ever. And then the possibility of China invading Taiwan. So there's a lot of hot spots, not to mention our southern border and all points south.
Well, you know, Will, the longer the war goes on, and I've listened to generals talk about the fact that this war can go on for several more years. I mean, you have to wonder, isn't it important that if Russia is not at its fighting peak, which it obviously is not, and with the good weather coming, isn't it time for us now to, you know, if we're going to support now, get in and get out? You can't have this during an election, or at least Biden can't. And you have to hit Russia. They don't seem as strong as they suggest they are.
Well, I think the historical record of Russia, whether or not it be World War I or World War II, is to endure grievous losses for the first year or two of a campaign and to win eventually through attrition, throw bodies at their problem, and eventually win the war. I think my concern is a little bit at a deeper level, and I think President Biden visiting Ukraine today is somewhat symbolic of my concerns. It's a national holiday in the United States of America. It's President's Day, and he's visiting the president of Ukraine. It's as though we don't have our own problems. Dana mentioned the southern border. Of course, there's what's going on in Ohio. But those aren't just political talking points to say where's Joe Biden's priorities. It's this. If this is your highest priority, then it should be a priority for you, I think, to articulate an exit strategy. What is the end of this? Because when you talk about those hotspots, Dana, I've seen others. Emmanuel Todd was a French intellectual last week that says we're now essentially on the path to World War III. It's an economic war that's divided itself into East and West. China and Russia are aligned economically. And economic wars lead to kinetic wars. You know, trade wars lead to bombs. And so I would ask the president, if this is your highest priority and you visit Ukraine on President's Day, what is your exit ramp to avoid World War III?
Okay.
Good question.
Greg, what is?
Well, we've been talking about this for a year. None of the information coming from Russia or Ukraine is reliable. So, you know, we're in a consistent, persistent fog of war. Yet it's amazing how easy we adapted to this for a year. I mean, it was like for a while we were outraged. We have to be honest, this war is background noise to us. We've got many distractions, all these things going on. In that way, they're very lucky in the sense we aren't fighting over the money. And for Joe, this is an easy cause to attach himself to because the suffering isn't tangible or immediate. These are other people dying. If you look at Ukraine, they can fight forever because we're just going to give them the technology and the Russians are going to keep throwing bodies at it. This is going to go on forever. And there doesn't seem to be any desire for negotiation, and that makes me wonder why. It's like people are making money off this that aren't dying, so it's good for them, and it's just, I don't know. I haven't changed my opinion about this since day one, so I just can't believe it's a year, and I'm still saying the same old crap.
You know, Jessica, yeah, Americans certainly do have the right to ask questions. We're over 30 billion in the hole. But should there be congressional oversight? You know, Ukraine is known for corruption. I mean, shouldn't we at least have some sense of where the money's going?
I think that they do tell you at least, like, this is what this costs. We're sending 28 tanks. That's the cost of this. Some degree of oversight for sure. But President Zelensky is not known for corruption. Prior presidents have been. I know that he's relatively new to the job, but I don't see many people saying, you know, I think that they're taking the cash and running, or he's going out and, you know, drinking and going to the casino. It seems like it's being spent on a war. And now that we have, you know, the crimes against humanity terminology, which has legal repercussions, a very serious action that Kamala Harris took. And I think it is important that they pulled it off as the 1-2 punch, right? She went first. She's at the Munich Security Conference. And that's a big deal. That's something that you would typically think the president would be doing, but he made sure that it was Kamala Harris that was the one that said that. He could have said it today. He's known since Friday that he was going to Kyiv to see President Zelensky today. So some degree of oversight for sure. But I think it is interesting that Mitch McConnell gave an interview a couple days ago where he said this is the most important issue and we need to be talking about it more and telling the American public why it is that we should be in this fight. And if you have unity from President Biden and Mitch McConnell on this, maybe people will get more answers about it, because I think when you do struggle, you don't say, I don't want to help Ukrainians. You do wonder, okay, I'm here and I'm paying taxes and I want to make sure that I'm supported at least as well as they are.
Do you guys ever, though, wonder when you're listening to the news, when one week you're listening to it and it's like Ukraine is on the verge of winning and Russia looks terrible, and then the next week it's like Russia just completely annihilated Ukraine, and then that goes on for a week, and I feel like we're being played to keep like going, okay, it's Ukraine this time, so wait it out. Now it's Russia. It's like this could go on forever as long as they keep manipulating the news.
The honest brokers are saying that. that this will be years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, how
After
long
the
do
first
we-
few months.
How long do we fund it? I mean, we're not
Years.
giving money to,
What's your
to
alternative?
people in
Years.
Palestine.
Well, that's the thing is, we put our finger in this plug, and if we pull it out, then it all goes to hell.
Judge, before
Now
you
it's
go.
now Ukraine's future is on us.
Yep.
Judge,
We saw
before
that
you go,
coming.
Jessica brought up Kamala Harris, bringing this full circle. I dare you to read that tease in the pace of Kamala Harris.
I cannot. I will not replicate anything she does. or says.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.